Yo, what's going on? Kafuzi coming to you from my backyard in Crystal Lake for the final installment of my series, Training for a Fast 5K with Runna, the sponsor of this video. At the end of the last episode in week 12, we had a bit of a taper in terms of reduced mileage, although the intensity was still high. In week 13, race week, we'll have a few days of taper here before I hop on a plane with my kids who are now on spring break to go to Connecticut and visit my sister before we head over to New York for the big day. Monday of week 13 was a rest day, the second of 2 consecutive rest days, and so we'll start taper week on Tuesday. Good morning. It is a little bit after 8 a.m. here in Crystal Lake on a Tuesday. It's the last session before the race this weekend. It's a taper workout, but still not going to be a cakewalk. This is going to be 9 reps of 400 meters at 5:45 pace. Runna described this as being slightly faster than my goal 5K race pace, but I think what I'm gonna try to do is just make sure I'm locked in to a 5K race effort feels like. I'm just gonna do 9 times 400 at what feels like 5K race effort. I'm not gonna worry about whatever the pace is. Let's see how it goes. All right, 3 reps complete. Feeling good. I'm definitely working, but the 400 meters are clicking over super fast, and I'm getting to hit the paces without feeling like this is beyond a lot of what I could do for the 5K. So it's good. Let's hope it continues. Okay, 6 reps done. I've been coming in a little bit hot, so I'm feeling good, but it's taper week. I'm gonna save it for the race. I'm gonna pull back a little bit, stay right in the middle of range for the next 3. Hopefully I'll run the next reps perfectly. All right, 9 reps complete. Feeling really good for this weekend. Whew. Yes. Wednesday was supposed to be a rest day, but I switched Wednesday with Thursday because that's the day I was going to be traveling. So I took the Hyperion Max 3 out for a first run, an easy 5 miles. But because I was testing a tempo shoe, I did add some strides in there. And then pretty early Thursday, it was travel day. And normally I don't bring my kids with me for my work trips, but my wife is also traveling somewhere this week. So the kids were coming along with me on this one. The first to Fast 5K was in New York, and that's pretty close to my sister's place in Connecticut. We arrived a little bit after a lunch on Thursday and headed straight to the beach. My sister's kids and my kids are about the same age, and they all get along well, and I never get to spend enough time with my sister, so this was a lovely way to start the summer. The next morning started out with some of my favorite bagels and some coffee, and then it was time for a run. It is a little bit before 9 a.m. here in Connecticut on Friday. Now, today is a day that I added a run to the schedule, which maybe isn't the best idea since it is taper week, but because of my travel schedule, I had to move things around. And yesterday, Thursday, I took as a rest/travel day, and the race is Saturday. I didn't want to have 2 days off in a row going into the race, so I'm just gonna do a quick 3-mile shakeout. It was pretty hot that morning. Yesterday and today were the 2 hottest days so far in Connecticut for the year. and this had me worried about conditions on race day. Saturday was race day, and we had to get up pretty early to drive over to Randall's Island in New York. My sister drove, and she brought my kids and her kids, who I don't think have ever seen me race. The first Fast 5K started and finished at Icon Stadium, which I'd been to previously for track meet. But today, in the parking lot, there was a cozy little race village with great vibes. This race was not very big, so picking up my bib on race morning was super quick. And I didn't need bag drop because my sister's car was parked about a block away, but the bag drop looked pretty chill, and there was free coffee and a stadium's worth of bathrooms. There was also free bagels that even my sister, who is super picky about bagels, thought were excellent. There was a recovery station, and I also had a chance to stop by the Omius tent to check out their head cooling device, which I am definitely going to be testing this summer. The race was the first to Fast 5K, so instead of everyone going out all at once with the fastest runners in the front, this race had heats, with the first heat being first-time 5K runners. Then, subsequent heats would go out in 30-minute increments so that most people would be done before the next heat would have a chance to catch up to them. Heat 2 was 30-minute plus 5K runners, and Heat 3 was 24 to 30-minute runners. Heat 4 was everyone else. Before each heat, there was a group warm-up led by Runna's Lou Serafini, who I did an event with in Boston a couple months ago. Temps were cooler on race day than the past 2 days had been, but it was still kind of humid. Even so, I wanted to get in a pretty long warm-up to get ready for the race. There's still 2 more waves before we go. We don't race for another hour, but I'm gonna get my warm-up started. Let's go find Chris and Patrick and let's get started. Chris and Patrick joined me for a little jog around part of the island, and then we all did some drills and then a few strides. Did a little bit of stretching after the warm-up, a little bit of drills, just get the body opened up, and then a bunch of strides. Did one longer stride up this hill here, just to get aerobic engine really firing. And I've got a little bit of time, 14 minutes, before the start of the race. I don't think I'm gonna have a problem staying warm. It's very humid out today. The gun went off and I went out too fast. Even though this was an event focusing primarily on beginners, there were a lot of fast runners here. I didn't exactly try to go out with the first group, and I wasn't anywhere near them, but there was definitely a large pack of people running at what seemed to be like my race pace. And so the problem is, when you're in a race and there's a bunch of people around you, it's easy to not notice that you're going out too fast and you don't belong there. And so while I thought I was doing a good job of sticking with the right group, I think I was running about 10 seconds too fast for the first mile. All right, first mile, 5:48. And at that point, I realized what I had done, and it's one of those things where I'm not sure if I would have started feeling terrible if I hadn't looked at my watch and realized that I was going too fast, but I was starting to feel like I had made a very big pacing mistake. Making this turn was painful. It just felt like it drained a lot of the energy out of my legs. I did get a lot of cheers from runners coming the other way, and I tried to use that energy to keep going. I knew I wasn't hitting my paces, and I really just wanted a mulligan at that point, but I thought I would just keep pressing on. I tried to focus on my breathing, which is something that I've been doing through all of my speed work, kind of like
trying to dissociate to get through the hard parts. And certainly that did help a bit, but panic had already settled in my mind, and I forgot about all of my mantras, and I forgot about all the visualizations that I was planning for this race. Throughout the training block, Runna had been assigning hill sprints over and over and over. And during those hill sprints, I had been visualizing the race. And so for the race, I was planning on reminding myself of all the hill sprints I had been doing to remind myself of just how strong I now was. But my oxygen-deprived brain let me down, and I limped towards the final turn, towards the home stretch. The race had a nice, gentle downhill grade to get to the finish line, and I felt like I was suddenly able to push quite hard. Coming through the finish line felt great. This is my feeling great face, and I stopped my watch at 18:26, which was a surprise. Afterwards, I stuck around the finish line for a bit and then caught up with Chris and Patrick.
Oh yeah, baby!
Patrick let me wear his PR chain, which was a lot of fun, and I rang the Runna PR bell. I haven't had my kids come out to see me race in a very long time, and it was fun to have them yell at me to run faster when I'd been doing that all season long to my older daughter during her track season and to my younger daughter during her Girls on the Run 5K. And then later, by the time we got home and I had a chance to clean up, it was raining pretty hard, and so we went to the movies.
Now, the last thing that we have to talk about is that this race was short. My watch came in at 2.99 miles, which is short of the 3.1 miles I would expect from a 5K. And even though it was an urban environment with lots of concrete overhead at certain parts of the race, I don't think this was a GPS issue, as a lot of other runners also came in at almost the exact same distance. Now, this course wasn't listed as having a certified distance, and I don't think that's unheard of for events of this size, but 175 to 200 meters short is beyond the margin of error. I would have loved to have had the opportunity, and I think it would have made for a much better YouTube video if I could have had a chance to run that full 5K distance and see if I could have squeaked in under my previous 5K time. But I didn't have that chance because this race was short. Ultimately, that's not a huge thing that upsets me in this scenario. It's something that's happened to me before. It's something that happens. It's something that I've seen happen to other people. And at least this wasn't a race where I needed an official time in order to apply for another race like the Boston Marathon. But if you are upset because you signed up for a 5K and didn't get to race a 5K, I hear you. What you're feeling is valid. You should have had that opportunity. And I'm really sorry that things turned out the way that they did. Some people have been encouraging me to look at the conversions and see what an 1817 converts to for 3 miles and what does that mean for a full 5K. And if I did that, I don't think I would have beat my 1852 PR from 2022. But I do think that I am in the area of PR fitness, which is something that I'm really proud of at age 45. And at the end of the day, no matter what the distance was that we ended up racing, I had a great time running with my friends. I really enjoyed the welcoming pre and post race atmosphere. And I'm in a really good spot for my next race, which is the Sydney Marathon in 11 weeks. I hope that you enjoyed watching this training series of videos. I had a good time making them, although I still don't like hill sprints. If you want to try Runna for yourself, you could use code Kofuzi for 2 free weeks. I don't get any financial benefit or penalty whether you use it or not, and you should probably use someone else's code because it may help them. But the code is there if you want it.